All right, let's talk Michigan Wolverines, the maize and blue. Look, this is a team, a little over a year ago was celebrating winning a national title. A lot of people leave. Kind of an up and down 2024. But folks, Wolverines are quietly, as quiet as one of the college football blue bloods can be, having a great offseason. And that trend isn't slowing down, folks. Great news out of Ann Arbor coming up. But first, I'm Nick, and this is Saturday Morning Inspection. All right, this Michigan Wolverines program, we saw it at the end of the regular season. They found their footing, really solid job recruiting and transfer class, working its way through the 2025 class. Sherrone Moore and his staff are doing a great job. And folks, that momentum is continuing for the future, the out years, 2026 class. The Wolverines are setting up some big moves there. Let's jump right into this report, courtesy of Athlon Sports. It's kind of a compilation of a few different reports here. All right, the first kind of bullet here, the Wolverines took another step toward continuing their O-line legacy on Monday when 2026 offensive lineman Bear McWhorter, great name, included Michigan in his final five schools. Next bullet, Savion Hyder, the number one ranked running back in the 2026 class, remains high on Michigan, and his connection with running backs coach Tony Alford continues to grow. The five-star talent has made it clear the Wolverines are a serious contender in his recruitment. And finally, here, the race for Albert Hill, the number one rated corner in the 2026 class, is heating up, and Michigan is right in the mix. According to On3 Steve Wiltfong, one of the great sources in college recruiting, Hill has narrowed his choices to 6 powerhouse programs: Michigan, Tennessee, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Oregon, and Penn State. You'll notice there that final list, every single one of those teams are playoff teams except for Michigan. Credit Sherrone Moore. After sort of a down year record-wise, despite the strong finish, Wolverines are recruiting with the best of them. That's a great sign for this program in the future. Miles, I know you've got a few thoughts on this Wolverines update, but first, Michigan fans in the comment section below. Obviously, we've got a number of months before the 2025 regular season is right around the corner, but what's one game, one matchup outside of the rivalry game? We know Ohio State, right? Everyone's going to say that, but give us what other game, what other matchup are you really excited for the future? Now that you kind of have a little bit of an idea what this Wolverines team is going to look like, give us that matchup you're really excited for in the comment section below. But Miles, what are your thoughts on this latest news out of Ann Arbor?
Yeah, Nick, I think this is definitely great news. Michigan is back on the recruiting trail. They're hitting it hard, but the fact that you're competing with all of these guys, and this not even all of the guys they're in the mix for, it's hard to compile it all into one story. But reportedly, they're in the mix for 2 4-star wide receivers as well, a 4-star quarterback in the 2026 class, and going even further and beyond, the number one player in the 2027 class, also a quarterback Michigan is in the mix for. So they definitely have some great things going on. Offensive coordinator Chip Lindsey doing some great things on the offensive side of the ball. Sherrone Moore and everybody else doing some great things on the defensive side of the ball, building through the trenches like they historically do. Running back looks really strong. Michigan in all phases, all different depths of recruiting look very, very strong. It's like you said, it took a little bit at first. There is going to be some turnover, but I don't think anyone would think it would happen this fast. Just one season, even towards the end of that season for the Wolverines, we saw them finish strong and just keep the momentum going forward. 2025 was a good class for the Wolverines. 2026 looks like it's going to be an even better class for the Wolverines. And now we've already seen at the outset 2027, that could be a historic class for Michigan as well. There's a lot of really great news running around in Ann Arbor as far as the recruiting game goes for this team. With the strong finish, I expect them to continue this momentum, but just overall, Sherrone Moore has this team running in the right direction. If I'm a Michigan fan, seeing the strong finish to this season, I'm going to be very excited about what Sherrone Moore's plans are because I think he has a really good grasp on this program.
One of my biggest question marks with Sherrone Moore was taking over Harbaugh. Harbaugh's sort of ability to be a salesman, the energy, culture guy. It kind of was a good way to balance Michigan's strategy as a team because they're not the sexiest team. They don't run like a 5 wide spread, no huddle offense, right? Say what you want about Ohio State, but they like to sling the ball around. And look, that can be fun. That can be entertaining for a lot of high school players, recruits, and transfers, right? Even the Alabama Crimson Tide, for so long under Nick Saban, they basically transitioned to spread them out football done with power stuff. Michigan, all the way up to even last year, right? Power football. This is who we are. We are going to run the football down your throats. We're going to be defensive teams, special teams. That's who we are. sometimes that can make it really hard to recruit, right? If you're an outstanding corner, an outstanding wide receiver, an outstanding quarterback, right? Do you really want to sometimes go to a school where you're going to hand the ball off 40 times? Or if you're a corner, you got to do run support all day, every day in practice, right? Sometimes it can be hard. It can be easier for these players to choose other programs to go to, the USCs and the Oregons and have fun basically playing 7-on-7 all day, every Saturday for the next 4 or 5 years. The fact that Michigan with Sherrone Moore is doing this recruiting wise, I think it really speaks to Moore and his staff's ability to get it done with these kids. Because Harbaugh was able to get it done because, he obviously had the college success at Stanford, the NFL success at the 49ers. He was a Michigan man thorough and through. He was like him and Tom Brady are basically the symbols of Michigan right now, basically in the football world, basically the sports world in general. He was able to use that to do such a great job of recruiting, right? And kind of just personality and just it was kind of infectious. Sherrone Moore doesn't really have those things, not certainly at the same level as Harbaugh, or at least I didn't think he did when he came on to be the head coach. I was actually concerned recruiting would drop off. The reality is Moore has kept that up and just 100% at the same level, in some cases even better than Coach Harbaugh. Now, look, he has to get the wins on the field. He's got to take this team to Big Ten championship games and make playoff runs like Jim Harbaugh did. But the reality is, more recruiting wise, I think that was the big question mark. He is crushing it, right? He's doing it differently, which is smart. You don't want to try and replicate it and be like a fake kind of Harbaugh clone. People will see through that. He's being authentic. He's relying on his staff when appropriate. He's doing a great job managing this program. And Michigan fans, look, I know there was a lot of consternation about what recruiting would look like under Moore. He has just crushed it, and he's done it with his own strategy. I think that's really important. That means he'll be able to duplicate it in the out years and continue the success. This is not a short-term flash in the pan. This isn't Texas A&M from a few years ago where they had one or two recruiting classes and then it fell off. What we're seeing from the Wolverines right now can be duplicated. It will be duplicated, and it means before long, Michigan will be competing once again, not for just wins, not just for bowl wins, but for national championships.